You're watching today on eNCA DSTV channel 43. Now, there's a critical shortage of various grades of waste paper in the country's recycling industry. And according to the Paper Manufacturers Association of South Africa, this is likely to continue. The association says some of the reasons for this is the COVID-19 pandemic, which has disrupted supply chains. Well, how bad is the situation? Let's discuss this now with Jane Molony, Executive Director for the Paper Manufacturers Association of South Africa. Ms. Molony, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. This shortage, how critical is it? I've said there's a critical shortage, but I mean, how critical is it?
Dan, it is critical. We need 3 weeks at least of waste paper to make new paper from it. And at the moment, we are lucky if we have 2 weeks of waste paper available at the mills.
What do we use waste paper for?
Mostly to make new paper, but you can also use it for egg boxes, so molded fiber you use for egg boxes. You make egg boxes mostly out of old newspaper, but the shortage of waste paper is largely around corrugated cardboard boxes. And we're doing a great job of exporting various commodities in our cardboard boxes that are made locally. And we're not actually importing as many things in cardboard boxes. So we have a decline in the actual number of cardboard boxes available for us to collect. We also, because of the weak rand, we find that it is quite a lucrative business for traders to export waste paper because of the dollar-based pricing. So that also creates a problem for our local paper manufacturers.
So waste paper is bought mainly by paper manufacturers to be recycled and then make these different forms of products that you've outlined. So besides the competition from abroad in terms of the rand-dollar exchange, what else is leading to the shortage?
Well, during COVID, we've seen schools shut down and not as much, also offices closed, so people are not printing as much. And the printing and writing grades, although there's a trend all over the world to use less of that paper, because there's less of it, we use it for making toilet tissue, as an example. And people are then having to use more pulp, more virgin pulp, which we make locally from eucalyptus trees. We also export pulp, and we get a lot of foreign exchange for that pulp that we export. So, yeah, there are various reasons for why we have less waste paper, and we would like to appeal to all of your listeners to, over this Christmas season, to make sure that they set their waste paper to one side in a bag so that the waste pickers can collect it and get good money for it, because we need every last bit of it, Dan.
Now, if you don't get enough, what's going to happen?
Well, then our mills will have to take some downtime, because we can import waste paper, but when it becomes too expensive, then it doesn't make sense to actually make paper from it.
Yeah, so you've appealed to households, ordinary South Africans who might be listening to this interview, and as you continue to communicate as the association to do their bit, what other interventions could assist you?
Well, we are speaking to ITAC, that's part of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, and if you want to export waste paper, you have to get a permit. So they look at every single request for a permit for waste paper to go out the country, and they examine very closely the shortage, and they assist us by not giving huge permits, so reducing the number of permits for waste paper when it leaves the country.
Yeah, I mean, we take it
so that is a...
Yeah, that's one intervention. That's at that level of government. And would your association, for example, go on some campaigns to make sure that it's top of mind for households? You've already mentioned that we need to set aside the waste paper so that the waste collectors in our areas, our various areas in the country, are able to grab it and then and then, of course, make some good money out of that.
Yes, we're also quite excited about the new legislation. There is new legislation called extended producer responsibility. So there's a portion, an EPR fee, that then goes towards the promotion of recycling and of collection, of developing infrastructure, and also to pay waste pickers a service fee for the additional service that they offer municipalities around collecting not just waste paper but other recyclables. So we are hopeful that that additional funding, which will start coming in next year to all the different producer responsibility organizations, whether they be for plastic or for waste paper, that will also help us to collect more waste paper. But there is a limit, Dan. You know, our recycling rates and our collection rates have been at 70% for the last 4 years. And there's a misunderstanding, a misconception that using paper is bad because you cut down trees. But actually, we sustainably farm the trees in order to harvest them and make the paper. And while the trees are growing, they absorb the CO2 out the atmosphere. So that's a good opportunity. And we keep the paper, we keep the carbon stored in the paper by keeping that paper out of landfill and using waste paper to then make more paper. So it's a whole circular economy. It's made from a renewable resource. So those are some of the opportunities that we actually have.
Okay, no, thank you for clarifying, and thank you for your time, Jane Molony, and good luck, of course, with that campaign. She's the Executive Director of the Paper Manufacturers Association of South Africa. Do your bit and get the waste paper collected. Here at eNCA, we've got waste paper bins. You know, this paper is going to a recycling bin after I finish my shift here. We don't just throw it away. We also do our little bit to support and assist in the recycling of paper. It's very important. The eggs that you buy that's been recycled, you think it's fresh, new tree. No, it is not. So do your bit to support the waste paper industry.